Unlike Lou, who was honored to be invited by Carl, I have to tell you, I was astonished that Kathleen was going to let me stand up here and talk about her. So I'm not going to be cruel, I promise. Let me start by thanking you for letting me join you this afternoon to sort of introduce a dear friend of mine, but also someone who I think has been sort of persistent and tireless in advocacy for children and health in the community today. You know, when I met Kathleen almost 6 years ago now, we were both selected to be in the LF Class 17 together, American Leadership Forum Class 17, which she has now named us the best looking and smartest class ever. That'll give you a sense for Kathleen. And the way the program works is you spend a year together and you meet once a month on a Friday all day and you take several field trips together. One of those field trips is several days in the Sierras. And let me tell you, nothing makes people bond quicker than a bunch of middle-aged urbanites in camping gear. We were clueless from day one. But even then, I have to tell you, the fun part was that, amidst all the, tent setting ups and food preparation and latrine digging duty and some digging, the best part for us was the conversation. And in my conversations with Kathleen, what it became apparent to me was that this is a woman who could both regale me with the trials and tribulations of being a public servant. She was the Saratoga mayor at the time, and the politics that go on in that world is completely beyond me to be the mayor of an affluent community. But she also spent a lot of time talking about her vision of having a children's hospital in San Jose and what it meant to her personally because of her own involvement with children's health. And I saw in her something that I just thought was astonishing. We bonded, we became friends, we've stayed together over the years. And it was obvious to me in that first interaction that persistence was something that was really high on Kathleen's attributes. And she worked, quite frankly, even from day one to ensure everybody had a good time at the camp. Kathleen has 5 kids at home, so for her, this was a vacation. And she made it clear from day one she was going to have a good time on her vacation, and no one was going to ruin it. So we survived it, and through the ensuing 5 years of friendship and interactions, it's been clear that persistence has followed her through. After 20 years at Applied Materials, where she was the first woman to run a sales organization, and the business grew from less than $100 million to $10 billion, I think Kathleen really fell into what has become for her true calling, which is a service to the community. And as I said, she served as the mayor of Saratoga, not once, but twice. She serves as the chair of the Silicon Valley Children's Hospital Foundation. She's a board member of the Housing Trust, the Valley Medical Center Foundation, and the Saratoga Montessorino Community Foundation. And of course, she is an endless and always friend of PACT. In her current role as the executive director of the Santa Clara Family Health Foundation, she pays tribute, I believe, every day to the PACT goal, working to promote the health and the well-being of our community. In 2000, Kathleen worked in partnership with Santa Clara County to form the first Children's Health Initiative. And at that time, 1 out of 6 children in the county did not have health coverage. Today, true to her tireless efforts and many others in the room, over 85,000 additional children have received medical, dental, vision, and mental health coverage since the inception of the plan. As of 2010, in the census, it showed that Santa Clara County was the #1 county in the state with the highest rate of insurance for our children. There are 153,000 kids today receiving health coverage through Medi-Cal, Healthy Families, Healthy Kids, in a county of more than 475,000 total children. Kathleen's many contributions and the statistics you hear from the health side, I think, are both amazing and paint for us the picture of who she really is. Simply put, she's passionate about how we take care of our kids. And her organization strives to ensure we give them the best shot to be successful in life. Persistence is what's gotten her to this point, and I think that's what's going to make it certain for us and reason for us to continue to talk about her and her ongoing efforts in the community for years to come. And I want to close with a quote that's one of Kathleen's favorites, and it's from Calvin Coolidge, and it's around persistence. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated failures. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. And so it is my great pleasure to welcome to the stage the 2012 Leadership and Action Award honoree and my dear friend, Kathleen King.
So I want to first say that is the longest Randy Pond has ever gone without swearing. I was just waiting. Every word was going to have a swear word somewhere in there. I'm so impressed, Randy. First, I would like to say that many of the men that came up here, I'm so impressed, and for reasons many of you don't know, which I think they have a great sense of humor, but they're all very kind. And for those of us that know Carl really well and Randy really well, they are just very kind people. And I don't think that gets praised enough in our lives. So thank you for being good friends and people that take care of others. Also, Mike Fox, I've always learned from Mike, he said, I think, keep it short, keep it simple, and sit down. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to start with a very famous line from a famous movie, which is, there is no place like home. And when I come to this room and I see all of you, this is my home. These are the people I call my home. From my family that's here, my best friend from high school, from my gal sisters that are here, from the best looking ALF class ever, and from my board members are here, my employees. There are so many people to thank for being here. Another group that's been so kind today are the servers. They remembered my mother and got her coffee. My brother Dan is here. He said he would only come again if this was the actual award, because he came to the pre-event. And of course, as I said, my mother's here. My wonderful husband, Mark, is here, and my brother-in-law, Tim. Now, I need to take just a minute to talk about my children, because 4 out of 5 are here, and many of them hopefully will be finishing college pretty soon and looking for jobs or graduate school. So my oldest is at Davis, Marie. Hopefully she's there in the lab finding a cure for cancer, because that's where she told us she is. Alyssa, stand up, Alyssa. Alyssa is at UC Santa Cruz. She will either be a pediatrician or a psychiatrist, and she will make sure all children that are with her feel good. My son Nick will be an accountant, a leader of men, and he will make sure his sisters have enough money to save the world. Matt is going to be the master of the universe. I don't know what that means, but I think it's going to be really good, Matt. And Robert is the glue that keeps us all together. Robert. So when I say there's no place like home, I have this wish for all the children in our community. As Herbert Hoover said, children are our most valuable resource. And I want to tell you a little about growing up in my family. I'm one of 7. If you meet us, you will find that we all have a high level of confidence, a high work ethic, pretty good sense of humor. We all think that we were our parents' favorite child. And we have a mother that makes us still believe that. She has to get us one-on-one. Otherwise, it gets a little confusing. But I've lived over half my life, and I still take my troubles to my mother. And what I will say, when I came a couple weeks ago, big issue, life-threatening to me, she said, you know, Kathleen, when you set your mind to it, you solve whatever you set your mind to. And I just wish every child could have that. I had it at 7, I had it at 10, and I had it at 17, and it still works. So I hope we can all think about doing it with each of our children. My father died suddenly. He left not a single enemy in the world and 500 people to attend his funeral. When he died, he left financial papers for us, and I'm hoping I can get through the next part without crying. He left a note for us. It said, when you read this, I should be dead. I hope in the end I didn't act strange or feel sorry for myself. If I did, please forget it. I did have a great life, and I want to thank you for it. If you were never the perfect children you thought you were, but you were always more special than you can ever imagine. Only your mother was more important. So my question to each of us is, as we look at the children in the community, there are less and less every year. There's at least 3 adults to every child, and we must make every child feel that way. My husband, he wanted me to make sure I said he's a young wise man, gave me a quote to use with Carl Gardino. It was, "Children will grow up to be you. Make sure you are proud of them when they do." Another smart person, Lillian Katz, said, "Each of us must come to care about everyone else's children. We must recognize that welfare of our children is intimately linked to the welfare of all other people's children. After all, when one of your children needs life surgery, someone else's child will perform it. If one of your children is harmed by violence, someone else's child will be responsible for that violent act. The good life for our children can only be secured if a good life is also secured for all other people's children." So I ask you in the next week to do a couple things for me. Spend time in your home with the people that matter to you. Do something nice for a child, and if you want to add on voting for Measure A for children, that's okay with me. I'll be happier. And then sign up for the Turkey Trot. It benefits 3 agencies that bring hope, health, and home to those children in our community. Thank you.